will go to the first of what has been deemed David Lynch's LA trilogy, Lost Highway, which connects with Wild at Heart, because Wild at Heart was based on a novel by Barry Gifford. Lost Highway was one of the only writing collaborations that Lynch did with Barry Gifford. This was an original idea that Lynch had that he collaborated with Barry Gifford to bring to life and put to screen. And it was also the first major feature film that he'd done after Twin Peaks had finished. So this is where he really starts to get abstract. Really back in the way that Eraserhead was abstract, although I would say even more so. And I'll just come right out and say this might be my favorite Lynch film. I absolutely adore Lost Highway. I know for a lot of people it's a toss-up between Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet. Obviously for you really, really like Elephant Man. For me, Lost Highway is the hidden gem of his film catalogue. It has my favourite atmosphere of any of his films, has my favourite villains of any of his films, particularly the Mystery Man. I really love the performances in here, particularly Bill Pullman as Fred is dark and mysterious, yet pathetic in a way that's very, very captivating. And the narrative that it weaves as well, while confusing, has some of the best mysteries in it. The only other film of his that I would maybe put alongside it would probably be Fire Walk with Me. And that's only because I think that Twin Peaks overall is his crowning achievement. So that's just me to start off with. I've explained all of the narratives thus far. Would either of you like to explain the narrative of Lost Highway?
That is harsh.
Josh, this was your first time watching it, actually.
Last night, so it's fresh in the mind,
Yeah,
yes.
would you like to explain the plot of Lost Highway?
So, a saxophonist who has seemingly a strained relationship with his wife because they have a very wooden conversation, and also when they have sex, she gives him a little pat on the back when... That's brutal. By the way, if there's any women watching, that is not the way you deal with disappointing sex. That's horrible. So any subsequent events, I feel like, are perfectly just... No. That's not true. So they start getting videotapes on their doorstep, and they progressively become more and more intrusive. One is just the outside of the house, then they go in the house and film them sleeping. It is worth adding as well that it's interesting that he was able to film himself sleeping in the sort of canon, the sort of canon of the detectives. How did he do that? Brings into question the elements of the film, doesn't it? That he's able to film himself, supposedly. But yes, his wife is murdered, or is she? And he gets put in prison, in a strange prison where you look up, there's a very ornate ceiling through the grate. It's like, is this actually a legitimate prison, or is this something that perhaps is more ad hoc and made to look like a prison? Who's to say? There's lots of aspects of it that don't necessarily fit a more ordinary interpretation, but he goes a bit mad. He has really bad headaches, and he turns into someone else. And for some reason, the prison wardens don't question it, say, hey, buddy, you're not meant to be in prison. Out you go. And then they just say, oh, well, I guess he's gone. And then you follow this guy that he's turned into and follow his life. Turns out that he has a lot of sex with a lot of attractive women, which is pointed out by the detectives in the film.
Turns out his dad is Gary Busey. Yeah. Possibly the scariest part of this whole scenario.
Yeah. If I woke up and my dad was Gary Busey, it's all over for me.
You're gonna have to share you.
He's kind of like a blank canvas character. He's not exactly charismatic. He says the bare minimum amount of words to get by in social situations. Sort of sells this idea that he's had some sort of traumatic injury. There's this event that he's forgotten. He's forgotten a lot about his past. And so it leaves it open-ended as to whether he's actually... Is it Fred? Mm-hmm. The original guy?
Yeah.
is he Fred in another form? What's actually happened? And then he gets meddled up. He gets caught up with a gangster's love interest. He falls for her himself, cheats on his actual girlfriend. Don't know why. Come on, man. Threw it all away. So the moment I stopped caring about him. I'm not sympathetic to cheaters, all right? But the thing is...
David Lynch most affected.
Yeah, poor Lynch. I don't know.
Not his wives. Poor Lynch. They forced him into that bed.
That's true. I mean, they came to him, as you said.
They do.
Yeah. He was
They let you
forced
do
into it.
He's only human.
Wild at Heart was actually his admission of what happened to him.
His confession.
What happened is Willem Dafoe came into...
He forced me to do it.
So yes, then there's this weird sequence where trying to make a life for themselves, they go to this shack which has already been seen in the vision, exploding. And then the weird pale man is there, and there's all sorts of weird scenes. They have sex in the headlights for some reason. And he shoots the gangster, and all sorts of weirdness happens.
I love that
You sound like you really understood it.
But no, that was perfect. Like, the way you were going with that was like, I imagine that an average audience hit with, I've got this, I know what's going on, mystery, who killed the wife, I'm on it, and, oh geez, what's happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the ability to describe things in a standard plot just plummets as we go on.
Yeah. So for me, in terms of the actual narrative that we're seeing, is operating in the way that it inspired Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2. Is operating with that same kind of logic. Not that he's in a town which is morphing to reflect his own mind, but basically you're seeing him recall an idealized version of events within his own mind whilst the truth tries to get through. It's unlocked by, as we mentioned in the first episode, sometimes there's a single line that unlocks the mystery for you. Early on, when they're receiving the videotapes, he gets the police in, and they say, what is it he says? That you don't have a video camera in your own home. And he says, no, I like to remember things my own way, not how they actually happened. Which
is a very weird thing to say. And the police, Lynch underlines this, basically screams it in your face, because the detectives look at each other like, what the hell did he just say? And
well, they ask him, and he then repeats it, just in case anyone in the back was checking their phone. And he's like, I like to remember them how I remember them.
This, although it was a key to the film, and I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I do like, to not have to rely on anything external to understand a film, I feel like it to someone who has watched a few films, it gives too much away too soon. I think if it came a bit later in the film, it would make a bit more sense. But I feel like he could have potentially lied and then later on said something maybe like, hey, I'm a musician. When someone pulls out a camcorder, which in the 90s is even more uncouth, it ruins the performance. It gets in the way. I just want to communicate my ideas to the audience. I could believe that.
And he's got enough performance issues as he is already,
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, that's fair. I would say still, for me at least, the first time I watched it, I was still trying to figure it out as in a literal narrative rather than something that's acting purely on metaphor and symbolism. But again, obviously he says that line. So what you're actually seeing is this guy is completely emasculated, unsatisfied with his wife. She's probably cheating on him. And the mystery man, the pale-faced man, seems to be an expression of his inner self. There's the fantastic introducing scene that introduces him, where they're at the party, and it's very particular.
If you would like to see the full version of this premium video, please head over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to gain full access to all of our premium content.